So guys, have you ever eaten a nice piece of juicy steak? Well, if you have, then I hate to break it to you, but according to a professor at a university who's obviously female, you are sexist, and that makes me sexist because I just had steak. Oh my... Ugh. I'm an intersectional male feminist, okay? I advocate for female superiority. I do not find female. I'm not sexist towards females. Fuck. But yeah, basically the point I'm trying to make here is don't eat steak if you don't want to be sexist towards females. Let's get into the video.
According to a university professor, eating meat is bad for you, it's bad for the country, and it reinforces gender stereotypes.
Okay, first of all, about the whole gender stereotypes thing, I don't see how that's actually a thing, but you know what, hey, let's let the video play on. Secondly, eating meat actually is good for you. It contains proteins, and proteins help build your muscles. And overall, meat is just a good product. It's tasty, and it's healthy. It's good for you.
But it tastes so good. Joining me now, Dr. D'Alessio Parson. Okay, doctor. Why is eating meat bad, really?
Well, we have to back up because you, I think at the beginning, just said eating meat creates toxic masculinity. The toxic masculinity is already there.
Okay, so basically, she's talking about toxic masculinity, and now I don't know what toxic masculinity is because I am ignorant, so we're gonna look that up on the web. Cornell's Cornell University, come on man, I had some respect for you, but you know what, hey, let's read into it. Cornell's gender order theory, which recognizes multiple masculinities that vary across time, culture, and individual. Hegemonic masculinity is defined as a practice that legitimizes the man's dominant position in society. So basically, toxic masculinity is basically about how males are seen as superior over females, which is completely untrue. The only people who see that are the feminists, and they want to get rid of that. But for me personally, I don't view myself as superior towards females. I view myself superior towards idiots, but just because an idiot's a female doesn't mean I view myself as superior to females.
Does eating meat make toxic masculinity worse?
It's one of the ways in which it can reinforce existing kind of social structures, including patriarchy.
Well, how does that reinforce social structures where men dominate eating meat?
Yeah, it's really complicated.
Now look, if you can't explain something that's very complicated, very simply, it means that you're not smart enough to teach the actual subject at hand. Like basically, if you can't break down basic algebra into something that little teenagers can understand, then you're not prepared, nor ready, nor qualified to be a math teacher or an algebra teacher. Honestly, if you're not capable of breaking down a difficult subject into something that is easier for simple-minded people like me to understand, then I'm sorry, but you're not qualified to teach or lecture in that subject.
Eating meat holds a lot of symbolism, and it really is too much to explain in 4 minutes.
And now she basically dodged the bullet. She said she's not answering the question, basically. She's dodging the question like... She's dodging the question because she doesn't have the answer to it, because eating meat has nothing to do with patriarchy. Eating meat has nothing to do with sexism, but she just wants to bring everyone down with her. She wants people to bring her down to her level, but we don't want to be on your level. We want to be on our own level ahead of you, because we don't like, us smart people don't want to be with you idiots all the way down there who think that eating meat is sexist.
But it has to do with the fact that our individual level decisions, the things we decide to do as individuals, what we consume, what we put on our bodies, the things we buy and put in our households, are fundamentally political acts.
So, me buying a steak, cooking it to medium rare, eating it is considered a political act. It's not a political thing, doctor. It is a human thing, okay? Some humans prefer eating just vegetables. Some prefer eating just meats. Some prefer eating a little bit of both in moderation. And others prefer vegetables or would be willing to eat certain meats, like fish, which are the vegetarians, I believe, and eggs. And vice versa. It's just all human, okay?
Okay.
Right? The personal is political.
Okay. So I'm having a steak right now because I'm starving.
I hear you. I wish I could have half of that, but this doesn't look vegan.
So, remember how in the beginning of the video I asked about you remembering if you ate a steak, really juicy and nice? Well, here's where it all comes around full circle. Now, to all the vegans watching, have you ever had a tofu steak? It's not really steak, but it's not really meat. It's just tofu and vegetable meats and proteins such like that come from vegetables, mixed into some sort of patty form, grilled and plated on a silver platter. Have you ever had that? Because if you have, then I honestly feel sorry for you.
See how that looks pretty good. That's a little rare, medium rare.
Yeah.
Is
got
this
some nice dead animal, dead cow hanging on your fork?
I love how she says it's dead animal and not steak, which is the proper term used for that meat. But you know what? Hey, you have to spread some political influence somehow, and if that's your way to do it, I'm not going to be one to judge. Actually, I will be, but you know what? Let's just forget I said anything anyway.
Is this bad that I'm eating meat?
If you go hunting, that's a totally different story, right? The blood's on your hands. Right now, you're kind of just enjoying the benefit, and the blood's on someone else's hands, and that's not very fair.
So basically, what she's trying to say is, he has the luxury of eating something that was killed by another person. Like, basically, if another person killed a cow, he has the luxury of eating the meat. I cannot agree with her at all. I think her reasoning is completely flawed because even though the blood is on someone else's hands, I don't think that they really care. I mean, if they did, they wouldn't really go into butchering. I mean, if you're a vegan, a hardcore vegan who protested against, eating meat because, meat is bad, killing animals is bad, then you wouldn't become a butcher, now would you?
What if they want to hunt meat, or what if they want to raise cattle?
Oh, totally. But the idea of killing and taking a life, that we should really deeply consider what that means for us as human beings. People have said you should judge a society by how it treats their animals.
Muhammad Gandhi did say that. I actually ended up looking that up. That is something true. One point for a doctor here. 0 points for Collins. I'll give you that credit. And Muhammad Gandhi is generally looked up to as one of the greatest peacemakers of our century. And you know what? Hey, I'll give her the point. She was right, But at the same time, I still can't really agree with her because that's just not my point of view. I see things differently. If we get the animal, we slaughter them, that's our prize, okay? You see, the animal is the prey, we're the predator, and that's how animals and nature have worked for centuries.
And it'd be great if we had universal health care for our animals.
Universal health care for animals, that could be expensive.
We can afford it. Look.
We can afford it. Bitch, we can't even really afford universal health care for humans. Now, I looked it up, I looked at the facts, and Bernie Sanders, a pretty reliable candidate to talk about this kind of stuff. He estimated that it's going to cost the United States about $1 trillion a year. Over $1 trillion, by the way. $1 trillion each year for about 10 years. I don't know if after 10 years it's supposed to go up or down. The web didn't say anything about that. All we know is for about 10 years it's going to cost the United States about $1 trillion a year. And that's just for humans.
Do you care more about people or animals?
I care about our world, and I think in order for us to achieve a more sustainable future, particularly regarding what's happening with climate change, we need to figure out how the 7.6 billion of us on this planet can be good neighbors.
Okay, I can kind of see what her point is. I think she's kind of misguided, and she kind of went off track over there. But when it comes to climate change, we would have to kill all the cows on planet Earth if we didn't want that to be a problem. And if we didn't eat the cows, then they would just continue to overpopulate and start releasing more methane than ever.
Okay, so why should I be a good neighbor to a squirrel?
Well, you don't have to worry about, if you don't want to worry too much about the squirrel right now, the squirrel's part of nature, right? If you keep killing nature, what's going to happen to us?
No, that's not how it works. You see, how do I put this lightly? But survival of the fittest.
Why would they taste so good if we weren't supposed to eat them.
Okay, well, here's the thing. He actually has a point, a pretty decent point. Because you see, in nature, if we're not supposed to eat anything, our taste buds, over time, they evolve to find those things to be bitter. You see, most bitter tasting things are usually seen as not good for you. And I know broccoli and other vegetables, they don't taste very good. But you know what? That's thanks to years of evolution. Yeah. But basically, back in the day, humans would eat berries, they'd die, our taste buds evolved so that whenever we would eat a berry and taste that it's bitter, we would spit it out and not ingest the poison inside the berry. So yeah, that's basically the whole point. So he has a point there.
The problem is that some people are really taking up more than their fair share of,
So
plate.
The rich people are stealing all the steak from the poor people.
Surplus value.
Okay, well, you know what?
I got a book for you.
I'm going to go take this
Wait,
steak and
can I
I'm
get
going
the
to go give it to a homeless guy out on 6th Avenue.
Go for it. And you were saying you needed books
Doctor,
for Christmas.
Thank you very much. I will take your book and I will take a bite of this steak.
And this is the book I'm reading.
And it's delicious.
And that is the end of the video, folks. I hope you guys did enjoy. Just to counteract some of the points, even though Mr. Jesse Waters already did so. Basically, the rich don't need to give back to the poor. That's just something. The rich is not required to do that, okay? The rich worked their ass off and worked really hard to get to where they are now, so it's kind of fair game. Poor people have no right nor reason to say, hey, look, Mr. Rich Bill Gates guy, give me that fucking yacht because we are poor and we demand it. Overall, I just think this whole situation is kind of stupid. This lady is stupid. There's no such thing as toxic masculinity, and I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, make sure to leave a like. And subscribe if you're new. Click the bell notification. Leave a comment down below telling me what your favorite part of the video is. Anyways, hope you guys did enjoy. Goodbye. And farewell.